Good evening, guys. It's Phil. It's all Leeds TV, and obviously, I have a pretending to be frozen Scotty Wilson with me tonight. We're looking back on obviously Saturday's 2-1 defeat at Ellen Road to West Ham United. I'm getting messages telling me there's a possible problem. This isn't good, but we're going to try and persist and see if we go well. Dangerous territory tonight. Someone has decided it's a good idea to leave me and Scott alone on the same stream and hope that we don't get demonetized. So that's my aim for the night. See if me and Scott can avoid getting in too much trouble. Scotty, how are you tonight, mate?
I'm good. I'm going to do my best to stay on point. I'm not going to rant about being screwed over out of my shed today. I'm not going to rant about anything, So I'll stick to being on point. I'll try.
Dear. Well, to be fair, you have already brought it up, so I think you failed on that already. But
I'm not going to rant about it.
If we stay on the straight and narrow, like without Rhiannon having to keep us in check, that is impressive, I'd say. So I'm going to start with, where did you watch the game the other night, the other afternoon? Because you were away, weren't you?
Yes, well, me and the wife were away for the day. So by the time we got to the hotel, the match was just starting. Yeah. So I was listening to it just on the phone, was listening to the commentary. And then by the time because I took my Fire Stick with me, because that's what you do when you go away for a relaxing weekend. You take your Fire Stick to plug it into the hotel room TV to watch a Leeds match. But by the time I got set up, went to go down for dinner. So I was just listening to it live on commentary. So I had to watch the match just again today and yesterday. So I've actually watched it. I watched the first half yesterday and the second half today, and I've watched the highlights about 8 times. So yeah, it was a weird way to watch it. I don't like that, but
yeah,
it was.
What did you think though? What we are happy with any aspects? Because I know obviously another defeat. There's been loads of. I mean, I've heard a lot of negative things, which naturally you will after a defeat. But yeah, I'm going to let you go
quite negative.
But then obviously I'm going to give some positives. Hopefully, I'm hoping you will too. But
yeah. I suppose initially, my initial reaction was, here we go, we're going down. And it's, like I even tweeted it, like, we could be in a relegation battle. We are currently in the relegation zone. So to say we're not in the relegation battle's unrealistic, because as of right now, we're in the bottom 3. So, there's that. But we're not performing. I think that because people are saying Brentford are the Leeds of last season and we've become Sheffield United. The difference is we're actually playing well for parts of the game, where Sheffield United just didn't. They were just rubbish, But I don't know. I think we've got enough to stay up, but there needs to be a switch flip. We need to have that Nottingham Forest moment where we lost and we thought that was it, and then boom, we just went to run, and I'm hoping that the run's about to start.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too negative, and I will flash people's comments up when I can. For some reason, it only lets me do if it's been a few minutes. So there's one that I'm about to flash up where it says no one gets relegated in September. That's where I am, to be fair. Don't get me wrong. 10 games into the season, we still haven't picked up. Then I will start worrying. And I'm not going to pretend that Watford on Saturday isn't a must-win game. I think we are getting into must-win territory now. But I'm not worried that we're in a relegation battle, regardless of whether we're in the relegation zone or not. That doesn't bother me. What has bothered me up until this point was the lack of a performance. I don't care about the results. United, obviously, at Old Trafford, we're always going to get dicked. We did last season. I saw it coming again. Fine. Liverpool at home, always going to get dicked. Saw it coming. Fine. And some of the results have been okay. But like Burnley, we got a point. I don't think we deserved a win. I'm not sure we deserved a point. We were shit. And Everton, okay, but didn't deserve 3 points. Whereas the only thing that when we got into Billy's bar on Saturday afternoon that I said to Oscar and Rhiannon before the game was, I'm expecting to lose this game 3 or 4 easier. And depending on the lineup, it could have been 5. I could have been that lacking of confidence going into that game.
Yeah.
But all I wanted to see was I was happy to lose a game 2-1 as long as I saw a performance. And despite all the negatives that you can throw at us from, obviously, we bottled it. We did. We bottled a 1-0 lead at home. We weren't down to 10 men or anything. There's no excuse.
No.
But for that first hour, that is the best we have played all season by a very long distance. We actually look good. Before half-time, Rafinha's hit the post again. Dallas has had one tipped over the bar. We could have been 2 or 3 up, and they were playing like, when Liverpool fans were singing to us a couple of weeks ago about Mane and Salah, that they're taking the piss. We were taking the piss. Like, Rafinha was nutmegging people for no reason. Click was doing back heels every time he got the ball, and it was working. And all of that shit hadn't been working for weeks. So, yes, it was depressing, the result in the end, and the manner in which we lost the game is disappointing. But there was a performance in there for at least an hour. I mean, did you, from where you've watched it, did you feel like you were happy with that hour in particular?
Certainly the first half.
Yeah.
The first half, I said it to you already, like, it was a real Premier League game. West Ham didn't play bad. West Ham didn't make us look good. Everyone in our team done their jobs and they played great. Meslier, I don't have enough good words to say about Meslier. The saves he pulled off in that first half, I'm constantly sitting going, like, that first half, we should have wrapped that up about 2 or 3 easily. But at the same token, West Ham had 2 or 3 absolute belter shots on target, and Meslier pulled off phenomenal saves. Phenomenal saves. So the first half, definitely, like, we were the better team. We looked like the Leeds that we got accustomed to last year.
Yeah.
And then even for the start of the second half, we were still playing well. And then it just, we just reverted back to what we've seen so far this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first half is telling me that it's still there. The guys have still got it, and they need to turn it on and switch it on permanently, and it needs to stay there.
Yeah. So obviously, like, there's a couple of comments that have come in, both from Chris. I'm not taking preferential treatment here, but I'm flashing them both up. That one, 100% needs to happen. I'm with Chris all day. We do.
I'm saying 12 points are going to happen.
What, in the next 3 games? You're ambitious.
No, next 4. No, the whole of October. The whole of October.
Yeah. No, that's fine. This one, that is, when I said there was a negative, that is the big negative. Obviously, I'm sure we're going to give it another minute talking about how we felt about the game in general, but then we'll get into the players. That is the big problem that I think everybody has. When Rafinha goes off, what's left? And I don't want to be too harsh, but the answer that seems to be coming from most angles is nothing. Do you think we are genuinely just shit without them? And are we like doing the Pablo thing again, where we just give it to Pablo, hope he can do something? If he doesn't, we're screwed.
He's become the new Pablo. We're relying on him, and that's the problem, because once he goes off, who do you rely on? Last season we didn't have a Pablo. We didn't rely on any one player last season. I think that might be part of the bigger problem this season so far, is that we've become reliant on Rafinha producing magic. Last year, Sturdy Dallas was playing fantastic. Jack Harrison was consistently brilliant. Everyone really, really impressed.
Yeah.
But as soon as Rafinha goes off now, it's like, what do we do? What do we do?
I must admit, obviously, we are, when we go into the substitutions, I'm going to try save this for when we actually get to it, but I am going to have to make some sort of mild defenses of the substitutes, and I think you already know exactly who I'm talking about straight away when I've said the substitutes, but I will try and make a case for the defense for a certain time.
I think we should let people know in advance. Like, see, whenever we're giving our own opinions on how we felt about these players, we're not bashing them. We're not trying to drag our players down. Our players have all our support. So I just think people should be aware that these are just our opinions, and we're just two nobodies sitting chatting crap about the team we love.
Yeah. Right. So let's crack on straight away. I mean, you've already touched on him a little bit. Illan Meslier in goal. I mean, spoiler alert, he's seen all my ratings now, so he knows what I'm going to give. But
I can't remember them.
Good. So I want you to give me a number and then tell me why.
Right. Well, I'll tell you now. None of mine have got 0.5s. I'm not sitting on no fence.
You sponge.
No, the 0.5s are too hard to work out in the long run. But for me, Meslier for me was probably my man of the match, if I'm honest. And I'm 2 million%. I'm giving him a 9.
Right. Okay.
He played that well. As I've already said, that first half, I thought we were the better team. Yeah. Had Meslier not have played as well as he did, you could have been looking at us being down by 3 goals in that first half.
Yeah.
Defensively, we weren't exactly doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
West Ham attacked really well. They had great shots. And Meslier was world class. 0.5. Get out of my life.
Mate, and you've seen I haven't moved. It ain't me.
But no, for me, 100%, Meslier was my man of the match. That's all I could say. He was fantastic. I love the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have immediately, like, Oscar's not here to bash me, so I'm throwing 0.5s around like nobody's business tonight. Thrown a 0.5 out there straight away. 7.5 for me. I mean, you can't, if you want to round it up and it makes you feel better, then call it an 8. But yeah,
we'll call it an 8. We'll call it an 8.
You call it an 8. I'm calling it 7.5. He was very, very good. He is permanently very, very good. So far this season, I'd say the only 2 players that genuinely have performed in every game until this weekend, him and Calvin, permanently perfect. We'll obviously get on to Calvin shortly, but Meslier, for me, I find it absolutely baffling that he's not already France's number 1. Hugo Lloris is, 36, and look at what he did in a World Cup final. Like, the guy's untrustworthy. I mean, I know he's only had 2 caps for France under-21s and had a proper Kiko moment in them.
Oh, he did.
But obviously, I'm so confident in Illan Meslier in goal. I've said for basically since I started on this channel, best goalkeeper I've seen in a Leeds shirt since Nigel Martin. And
since Nigel Martin and Paul Robinson, he has literally been the best goalkeeper we've had in 2 decades.
I think he shits all over Paul Robinson for me.
Yeah,
all over Robinson. The only person that's anywhere near in my lifetime is Nigel Martin.
I know a lot of people are worried about, depending where we finish, we could lose Rafinha. Yeah. I would be more concerned about losing Meslier. Yeah. Because a quality keeper like that is hard to find.
Yeah.
Still full quality wingers are a dime a dozen.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. And obviously, Meslier is, for his age as well, that you will struggle to find a goalkeeper his age getting the amount of minutes and putting in the performances that he has, especially at a level like the Premier League. So, Chris Kelly, not a patch on Ankergren. Yeah, each to their own.
Casper Ankergren?
Yeah, no, well.
So I'm Championship Manager 2007, and I cancelled his loan.
Oh, wow. You got a personal vendetta against him?
No, he just was no good. I just signed a different goalie. Anyway, back on track.
I didn't mind him, but I think the only game that he played well was that playoff final, and we lost anyway. So
yeah.
And moving on, so what did you go 9? So I've gone 7.5. Yeah. I mean, the majority are basically going like 8s, 9s, and there's the odd 10 as well in the chat. So I'm happy to go fuck this. Like, ignore me. It's a 9. Scott, you're in charge.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Moving on to Shackleton. I've gone a 6, although at the same time, I actually, in words, when I'm going to explain how I thought he played, I'm going to say a lot of positive things, but the number just doesn't look. I don't know why. When I'm watching, I give half points for when they do something good, take off half a point if they do something bad, and see where the number ends up. And like, if it looks too shit, I'll round it up a bit more. If it looks too good, I'll round it down. But yeah, with
way too much thinking. Just go with your gut, man. Just go with your gut.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing with Shackleton, and people have already put it in here, he was at fault for the winner. And obviously, up until that point, I thought he'd been faultless. And like we already had this conversation last week. You came on here a few weeks ago, Ayling out, Shaq's in. I said no. I came on last week, apologised. You were right. Fully back you on that now. Jamie Shackleton, for me, I don't want to see him starting midfield. I want to see Jamie Shackleton starting at right back because I think that's his strongest position. I don't think he's physical enough to start in central midfield, but I don't think that's the problem at right back. I think he was brilliant, and it's just one little moment that's obviously ended up leading to the winning goal. But there's other things in the lead up to that goal that aren't just his fault, like Firpo's at fault at 3 different stages. So it's hard to just blame it straight on him. Again, this quite easily, I could see why anybody would give Jamie Shackleton man of the match. In all honesty, I think maybe Cresswell deserves it a bit more than Shackleton, and Rafinha, obviously, we'll get onto them too. But he's definitely one of the 3 players that I thought stood out the most, even though obviously numbers-wise, I may have been a bit mean. What if you give him, Scott? You're getting like 10 or something, aren't you?
I'd give him an 8 as well. I know there's people there saying that he was at fault for the goal. He wasn't at fault for the goal. The problem where the goal first came from was Calvin mucked about in their half, and that's when they got the ball. And then Firpo, as per, was out of position. What Shaq done wrong was he chickened out of the challenge. That's what he done wrong. He wasn't at fault for it. He just didn't commit to the challenge. And then Antonio just kind of done a really, really good, skillful striker. He just kind of confidently and casually flicked it. Yeah. So that Jamie he mistimed it. He didn't commit. But, overall, Jamie, for me, you said it, and I've said it constantly from pre-season, he is our best right-back option. At this moment in time, he is our best right-back option, and he done well there.
If Luke Ayling is in the same form as he was at the start of last season, I would be inclined to disagree with you. But Luke Ayling is not in that form.
No, I mean, I wouldn't be saying that.
We don't want to stick the boot in, but Ayling's been our worst player, I think, so far this season. If not one of, but probably for me
one of 2.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say give him a chance and just give him a run of games. Like we'll get on to Tyler Roberts, but we gave Tyler Roberts that run of games last season when it was obvious that Pablo was leaving and Tyler was staying, so we needed to invest time into him. Do the same with Shackleton, because for me, long term, Luke Ayling isn't going to be here. He might be a squad player next season if he's still here.
Yeah,
2-3 years time, he's not still here. Jamie Shack is, and put the time and effort into him now.
Because I think we could find, he'll be our next Calvin. Being the whole, grew up supporting him, come through the academy, loves the club, wants to be here. And it'd be good to have more players in the squad that understand the club, understand the city, and just love it. They're not being brought in from abroad, and they're not sort of adopting the city. And I think the more players we'll have like that, you'll see. I think we'll start to see a Leeds of old soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a few shouts in the comments as well for not just Shackleton at right back, but it won't let me press the right one. Mike, I'm trying to get your comment up, mate, where you said Drama is stronger than Shaq, better him, and here we go. It won't let me do it. It's really frustrating. We'll just talk instead. Yeah. Michael 20 is trying to basically, and there's a few others obviously saying, give Drama a shout at right back. I mean, for me, Shaq's still further up the pecking order, despite him supposedly being a midfielder. For me, he's not a midfielder. He's nowhere near the build of a centre mid, not the way we play. For me, as a fullback, right build, energetic, dynamic, right place for him. And I think he's the best in form right back at the club. I mean, obviously, Drama, it's a different level. He hasn't played. Wow. But yeah, I would be sticking with Shaq for now. I'd give him a run. Should we do the centre backs as a pair? I'm going to say Cresswell and Cooper. I imagine the numbers aren't going to be similar, Scotty.
Oddly, there's only maybe one between it. I thought Cresswell was the better of the two.
Yeah.
And I think Cooper done well. I think Cooper led the defence well. So, he had a good bond. He had a good he set a good example, I think, for Cresswell. He wasn't too erratic or anything. He just seemed to be level-headed, and he wanted to just control that defence. There was a couple of times where he was left on his own to handle Bowen or to handle Benrahma or to handle Antonio. And let's be honest, Liam Cooper is not fast. And those are three relatively fast-paced players.
Yeah.
And you know what? Cooper done well not to give away penalties, not to get sent off.
So are we basically being nice because he didn't have a Cooper moment?
He didn't have a Cooper Kiko sort of moment. But yes, I'm with her, man. I've given him a 7. Okay. Again, my main problem with Coops, it's the passing. He just doesn't seem to pick out the best passes. And I think maybe he knows it himself, because you see sometimes he passes the ball alongside the other defenders, but he has that vision. He knows where the ball should go. He just can't seem to do that himself a lot. Yeah. And Cresswell, 100%, he was an 8 for me. For what is he? 18, 19?
19, I think.
Coming on and just defending like that against West Ham, who let's not make up bullshit. West Ham are brilliant.
Yeah, no, they're a good team.
I do want to see them challenging up there in the top 6. There's a couple of teams I want to see start pushing those arrogant pricks up there out of the way.
Mate, they're a better team than Arsenal or Tottenham. West Ham.
Oh yeah, they're probably the second best team in London. Let's be honest.
Do you not think Fulham are any good these days, or Palace? No.
I don't know. They held us to a draw in the cup, didn't
they? On Cresswell and Cooper, I've gone a bit further apart than you. I've got 2 marks between them. I thought Cresswell, like Michael 20 is just saying there, won absolutely everything in the air. Yeah. To be honest, the physical presence, the thing that intimidated me going into the game was Mikel Antonio versus Liam Cooper, and Cresswell as the younger of the 2 centre-backs. From where I was sitting, it looked as though he said to Cooper, I'll have this guy. And to be fair to him, he fucking pocketed him for a very long period of time. First hour, not a peep out of Antonio, apart from when he's punching Meslier in the face. So I honestly thought that Cresswell was absolute quality. And for me, Cooper, again, just based on the fact that I mark it down when I see them do something wrong. I love Liam Cooper, massive Cooper fan, will always champion him and don't want anyone to talk shit about him. But just for me, I thought 7 out of 10 for Charlie Cresswell, and I ended up giving Cooper a 5. I get the complete, he led by example. He's helped out the young centre-back. I just thought out of the 2, they got a bit of joy out of, let's be honest, if you're cutting our defence in half, you've got Shackleton and Cresswell on the right, and you've got Firpo and Cooper on the left. And maybe Firpo contributes to me digging Liam Cooper out a bit here, but that right-hand side, apart from their winning goal, was solid. But then the left-hand side, the only time they got any joy before the goals was that left-hand side. Firpo was, we're going to get onto him very, very quickly. Firpo was awful. Liam Cooper next to him, I know it's not his fault that Firpo's gone wandering like every time
every time, yeah.
But maybe it is actually though. He is the captain. He is a senior player. He is sat right next to him.
He should be commanding him more. Yeah,
like the own goal that goes in off Firpo's arse. Like, why the fuck is he still just hovering around the penalty spot? Cooper, kick him up the arse and get him where he needs to be. Perhaps I don't know, but that's for me. That's why I've gone a bit lower on Liam Cooper and a bit higher on Charlie Questwell. I thought splitting the defence in half, right side mildly solid, left half awful. So going straight on to Junior Firpo, I'm giving him a 4, and it could have been lower.
Jesus. You're a tough taskmaster. You're harsh.
Mate, this is literally based on that I will knock it down for half a point when I see you do something bad, and I'll put it up at half a point when I see you do something good. And like, even then, it was originally 3.5, and I rounded it up to not sound like I'm
Well, I've given him a 5.
right.
Simply for the fact that going forward, I think he's great. He is really, really good going forward. But there's this problem, and you said about it, it's this out of positionness. Now, Alioski was like that when he first came. Alioski used to attack, and then he had drifted around. He struggled to get back into his own position when he should have. And there was, because he was out of position, Bowen was able to do whatever the hell he wanted.
Mm.
And that's the problem. Ethan, what do you even say?
It's quite interesting going through these. There's a real like slant. Like clearly there are some people that agree with me that he was dreadful. There's a few people that think he was actually really good. Some people that think he was just kind of average. It's a really split one. Look, I don't have an agenda against Junior Firpo. I quite like that. I moaned about Alioski all last season. I'm happy we don't have him. My missus is watching. Sorry. Not sorry. I like the fact that we went out and bought a left back that we needed, but I've always said with Bielsa, it takes, even he says it takes about 8 weeks to get used to the things he wants you to do. Doesn't look like Firpo's got used to it yet. And like Gail has just said, give him time. I can see why he would look poor. I can see why he would look lazy. It's for me, it's just the positional sense. He has no idea where he's meant to be at any given time by the looks of things.
No, that's exactly my problem with him. It's that positioning.
Like, you can try and spin it whichever way you want and blame it on whoever you want. The first goal, nobody else's fault for me other than Junior Firpo because he
should have been there marking Bowen. He should have been on Bowen, and then if he's on Bowen, Meslier gets it. Because even with that slight deflection off Cooper,
I don't even think it's going in, mate. I think it just
that's
across the face a goal and goes wide.
No, that's it. It wasn't going in. It wasn't until it hit his back. Again, I wouldn't be saying that's an own goal. It was a deflection. I think that's, but again, if he's not there, it's not a goal. If he's doing his job and on Bowen, that shot doesn't happen.
Yeah. Nobody. I need to make clear, nobody has said that he doesn't contribute anything. I haven't said that he's shit. I haven't said that he can't go forward. I haven't said he can't produce. I've said defensively, we conceded 2 goals and they were both his fault. Defensively, he doesn't seem to understand his role yet. Pressing wise, I don't think he fully understands where he's meant to be, when he's meant to drop. I just think he's not got the hang of it yet. That's not me saying he's a bad player. I do think he will come good, but at this moment in time, like I've said, I would drop Luke Ayling. I wouldn't drop Junior Firpo because I don't want to put Dallas there because I don't think that works. We don't have another left back. I think we need to give him that time, and I think he needs to play himself into some kind of form. But at this moment in time, I'm here to give a rating on how he played on Saturday, and he was shite. In that one performance, he wasn't very good. End of. What did you go numbers wise for Firpo?
For both 5.
5. Okay, so I mean, we'll go 4.5 then if we're going smack bang down the middle, yeah?
Go for a 4.
You'd rather go down than meet me in the middle?
Well, because you had originally said that he was 3.5. And I'll compromise. I'll compromise with you. Again, going forward, I'm really impressed with him. But it's just that defensive positioning. It's like if you are going to be a wing back, mate, you need to get back.
Yeah. Calvin, what did you think? I like that you're doing the same face that I'm doing in my head. that makes me feel like we might be on a similar level.
For me, and like again, can we just clarify to people we're not bashing any players or anything here because we all love Calvin, we all know what he can do, but unfortunately, on Saturday he was not good.
Yeah.
And it's one thing that we always said. See, remember when we were in the championship and everybody played actual football. When Calvin didn't play, we didn't play. You know, we aren't good when Calvin's not good. For me, I've given Calvin a 5 as well.
Yeah.
There was challenges he missed out on that on any other day.
Yeah.
He makes that tackle. He kind of let himself get bullied a wee bit, and I don't know what it was, but he just wasn't at it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not far off you, mate. I've gone slightly higher. I've gone 5.5.
Kiss my arse, you give him a 5.
So I didn't think it was his best game. I think every other game this season, he's basically been around 7 or 8 out of 10 every game.
Yeah.
Just looked like levels above everyone else on the pitch, but just wasn't his game at all. I'm not going to have any of the he's on the same pitch as Declan Rice and Declan Rice is better. It's none of that. It just, end of the day, it didn't work for us, especially after Rafinha's gone off and like we were talking about with Firpo being out of position. The general idea of Calvin is that if the fullbacks are out of position, he covers them, not Liam Cooper. So there has got to be a little bit of responsibility taken there as well. Never going to sit here and bash Calvin Phillips. I've got the biggest man crush on the bloke. I fucking love the guy. But obviously just wasn't his finest performance. So we'll go into 5 because you said 5, I said 5.5. There's no point meeting in the middle there because then we end up with a 0.25. And that really would boil Oscar's piss.
I'm going to leave. 0.25, 0.5. Oh my God.
So
next we're going to be going into fractions.
Yeah, if you want to go into fractions, I'll go fractions. I'm not asked. Rafinha, let's get on to something very positive.
Rafinha. Where did I rate him?
Like the scales.
Rafinha, where did I rate it? I think I give him an 8.
Okay.
Because I've actually wrote down wee notes.
Don't want to go any higher.
Let me see. I want to see what I wrote about him.
Because I've gone 8.5 and I'm usually really unnecessarily critical. But me and Oscar in the stands, Oscar was staying to me all game. 10 out of 10 this. 10 out of 10, lad. But on it, he was genuinely fucking brilliant.
I've given him an 8, but I think because I watched the highlights again just before we came on, and I would maybe change it to a 9. I wrote down an 8, but do you know what? I would give him a 9. My only problem with him is that, see, as the game goes on, he tends to track back a bit less when he loses the ball or he doesn't. Defense,
he was on one foot. He genuinely had. I think he had an injection in his foot so that he could play in the game in general. And he told them that he could not play on any longer. He was in too much pain. So I'm gonna let him off on the not tracking back thing this time.
No. Day before self. If you're getting onto that pitch, you get 100%.
Just
you don't give.
You start to shoot again.
Yes, exactly. Do you remember in the pre-season when Jamie Shackleton had a head injury and Bielsa shouted at him and said, "Get up." So that's the mentality I'm going with. No, Rafinha's great. We all know Rafinha's great.
That's the best I've seen him, and I've now seen him in the flesh 4 times, and obviously I was gagging to see him in the flesh. And to be honest, the first couple of times, a little bit disappointed, even though he scored against Everton. A little bit disappointed in his all-round game, and he's never done that. I mean, I compare him to Messi, but seeing Messi in the flesh, and I couldn't sit down. I was constantly just stood up oh my God, this is just amazing. And I've wanted that out of him. And that's the first time where he's given me he was nutmegging players for no reason. in places where he just didn't need to. He was taking the piss. He was absolutely brilliant. To be honest, up until the second he went off, there's very little I could have pointed out in his performance where I go, you do better there. Like, worldy performance. Could have, like, if Oscar was here, Oscar's probably going 9 at least.
Yeah. No, definitely. He's unfortunate they only have had the one goal. A couple of times you've seen he could have went on and challenged and maybe took the ball on himself and went for a shot. But I've noticed he's starting to become a little bit more unselfish as well, which I appreciate and I like to see. He's looking for those options of who can he deliver it to.
Oh, of course. And it's partnerships as well. Like Harrison and Firpo is a partnership. And at the moment, based on the last couple of games, it's not a partnership that's working yet. Ayling and Rafinha, for me, wasn't a partnership that's working yet. But Shackleton and Rafinha does seem to be a partnership that is developing and working well. So for me, it wouldn't even be a question. They start together now. I'm not going to lie, I don't expect it to happen though. I do expect Ayling, if he's fit, he will start, and Shackleton will be on the bench.
Yeah.
So about on the other side, what did you think of Dan James? Obviously substituted at half time for Jackie.
Yeah. Dan's just, I think we just expected Dan to hit the ground running when he came in. And he hasn't really. It was just before the Stuart Dallas miss. And he just kind of lost control of the ball in the box. And we just got lucky that Rodrigo picked it up. And it's wee small things like that, Brian, going, that didn't happen when he was playing for them.
Yeah.
You know, those big.
I don't know. I think their fans would disagree with you. He got hammered by their fans, you know, constantly hammered. They didn't like him over there. I don't know why. I didn't think he played bad for him, but
no, I just think it's going to take a bit of time for him to get used to it. So it's 100%. Yeah. What's he doing? Get him in here.
I offered. I asked him to come on.
No, I agree. Like he needs a bit of time. You know, he's coming from a club that their manager couldn't drive a coach, let alone coach, to a club where they have a world-class coach. Well, look at their name, the Doomed United. They're just looking for bites.
Yeah. 4's harsh.
But no, I would give him a 6. I'll give him a 6.
Yeah. I
don't think he played bad.
On the basis that he didn't do a lot wrong, but he also didn't do a lot right. Generally, just sort of like an inconspicuous performance where I don't really know a lot of what he did. I remember that one thing, like you just said, dribbles into the box and just sort of fluffs it, and then thankfully it gets recycled and we still get a chance out of it. But you know, his contribution was basically just losing the ball.
It's just going to be a time thing with him.
Yeah, there was one or two where like he made the run in behind and just didn't quite get there. But yeah, generally speaking, not much to write home about with Dan James as of yet. Needs time. I mean, we did the 2 centre backs as a pair. We'll do the 2 centre mids as a pair. Dallas and Click. Again, I think one played better than the other. Which way are you going?
Click was better than Dallas.
Yeah.
You know. Like I'm wearing my Crookston Cafu t-shirt. Like I love Stuart Dallas. You know, he's a pride in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't started. He hasn't got going.
No.
Yeah, and it's disappointing.
He did have the shot that looked like it was our first real sight of goal. Tested Fabianski, but other than that, I couldn't really tell you too much else.
Last season, he scores that. This is my problem. Is that last season he bangs that in the back of the net?
Yeah. Although a lot of people have been putting that image of Click's chance on Twitter over the last couple of days, where for me, I know it's blocked technically, and we get a corner out of it, but for me, an informed Mateus Click scores that. Like, obviously we're not basing our ratings just off finishing, like there is more to it, but
he took far too long. Far too long when he stopped that.
The thing with Dallas's shot is his general performance wasn't good enough, but that effort was the best thing he did, whereas Click's general performance was very good, and that shot was the worst thing he did. So Yeah, I mean, this is very extreme, but kind of still kind of the right sentiment in a way. Click was overall a lot better than Dallas. I've gone 7 for Click and 6 for Dallas, but could have gone lower for Stewie. I just never want to because he's loved.
Yeah, no, I give Click a 7 and I'll give Dallas a 5. I haven't given anyone lower than a 5.
Yeah, it is a terrible miss, and I must admit, like I said, if they do something bad, I mark them down half a point every time they do something wrong. So he was in really high stock for me up until basically the hour mark. Just before they score, when it's obvious Rafinha's about to come off, I think the performance levels in general just dip. And up until that point, he was sitting on like 8 out of 10 for me, easy. And then obviously misses that chance, and then the game's gone. And when the game starts to go, it is midfield where there's a gaping chasm for just Declan Rice just walk through it, mate. Souček just fucking walk through me. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to track you. I'm not going to get in position. I'm not arse. Just go where you like. And some of that is, I've pinned a lot of it on Firpo. Some of it's on Calvin this time. But obviously that midfield, it's not just the West Ham game where people have been saying we've got no midfield. And that is sort of a responsibility on both of them, Click and...
It's been all season. But it's something that we've all known from when last season ended. We knew we needed a left back and we needed central midfield. But instead, we went and got wingers. You know, and I don't know. But I think Click is playing a lot better this season.
Yeah, much better than this season.
And he's definitely justifying being the first choice. For me, he's the first choice centre mid. At this moment in time, when Bamford's fit again,
you want Rodrigo?
Dallas is on the bench.
What, with Rodrigo in midfield?
Rodrigo and Click, and I prefer Rodrigo up front. But Rodrigo and Rafinha have got a good partnership.
Yeah.
And if Rodrigo could improve his work rate, I think he can justify more being in the midfield. But at the minute,
I do have a different idea, and Chris Kelly's going to love it, but I'm saving it for when we get to the boy.
You're going to say two up front, aren't you?
Mate. We've spoken about this in private. You know my idea, so I'll wait till we get to Tyler. So let's get to Rodrigo first, and then obviously we're on to the subs anyway. Rodrigo, I've given him a lot of stick for the last few weeks. Didn't really see how he was any good against Fulham. People said it was a good performance. Newcastle was a good performance. Still don't think it was that great. But
Newcastle was decent.
No, I still didn't think he was that good, to be honest. But I've given him 7.5, 7.5. I thought that was the best performance I've seen, especially this season. Maybe not as good as Burnley last season, but one of his best performances in a Leeds shirt. And I think a lot of that comes from being not in midfield. It comes from being up front. For me, Rodrigo is a backup to Patrick Bamford. And if Patrick Bamford's injured, he's not fit, or if he needs to come off after 60 minutes, that is Rodrigo's job. Rodrigo is not a midfielder. I understand it's an experiment that we're still going to keep seeing. I don't expect Bielsa to stop just because us or any other channel don't like it, or because the fans don't like it. I still expect Rodrigo to be popping up in midfield till the end of the season. But for me, it's not working. Hasn't worked. Never has worked. Never will work. Keep him as a striker because he was genuinely fucking brilliant. Like that, our goal doesn't happen without Rodrigo. I know it's obviously Click gets the assist in the end and it's a fucking brilliant finish, but generally speaking, for me, Rodrigo is a striker. Don't worry, Chris, I'm coming to you. Don't worry. He's at home now with his little Phil voodoo doll just strangling the
Oh god. You have to agree with it. Right, before we go in there, I agree with you on Rodrigo.
Because obviously I think we're going to spend a good 5-10 minutes on Roberts. We may as well just
to clarify, I put you back on track there. I haven't went off track. You went off track there. I brought you back in.
I think we've been very restrained so far. We've done well.
it's so hard, and I'm so loud as well. My wife and kids are upstairs sleeping, and I'm trying so hard to be quiet.
Me and you, mate, we're a partnership for the ages. Who needs Ant and Dec when you've got Phil and Scotty? Anyway, we've gone off track.
Yes. We're not releasing a song. But yes, 100%. Rodrigo. Me and you, we've said this several times about Rodrigo. He isn't a midfielder. And I agree. I don't want to see him in midfield. I keep saying that Rodrigo is the impact sub. Roberts isn't the impact sub. Rodrigo is the impact sub. That is horrible.
You imagine Tyler Roberts in the South Stand. He'd have got battered. You got Chris coming over from the cheese with trying to fight him.
But yeah, look, for me, you actually give Rodrigo higher than I did. I give him a 7, but okay. I will upgrade it to a 7.5.
Good boy. I'm proud.
And then we're going to round it up to an 8. So that's where we're going with it. But no, I thought Rodrigo up front was great. He had good vision. He knew where his wingers were. He knew where Click and Dallas were. He had good side of the goal. He had good passing. I just feel Rodrigo is not being used right at all.
Hits the post. The one where Rafinha hits the post.
Yes.
The build up to that, mate.
It all started from Rodrigo.
Different levels from him. Like the touch to get past, I think it was Declan Rice, feeds Rafinha, bombs back down the wing, gives him it back, he hits the post. Like, generally speaking, and even when Roberts came on, me and Oscar were joking, like when we were, I think it was 1-1, the only chance we had was a mixture of Roberts down the right, which we'll get onto, Roberts to Rodrigo, back to Roberts, and like it's a shit shot in the end, like it's straight at the keeper. But could you imagine a Rodrigo assist and a Tyler Roberts goal in like the 85th minute to win the game for us in front of the Kop? And obviously, Chris, a few jokes about you and your reaction were made. I won't repeat them now, but I'm sure like that would generally just like tear up the script and fuck it around. Like, so we've gone with 7.5 with Rodrigo. I'm going to quickly rush through Somerville and Harrison because I don't think there's much to say about either of them.
You can't give Somerville a rating. Like, you only come on for a couple of minutes.
Harrison, are you happy with a 6, or do you really want to go anywhere else?
No, not really. He didn't really do a lot. Right. But again, you have to give him the concession. He's just coming back from COVID.
Yeah, fine.
So that's fine. It wasn't his usual level.
Give me your number. And you can go as high or as low as you want.
Mine's doing it. Yours is high?
No, mine is not high. Mine is low.
Right. Well, I hate doing this because I don't want to sound like we're bashing him.
Yeah.
Because we're not. What I think people have to understand is that we're fans of the club and we will always love the club. Players come and go. Unfortunately, this is a player that we have wanted to do well for so long.
Yeah.
For so long. And it's just not happening. And people can throw stats at me all they want. They can tell me, oh, he had the most successful passes. He had the most, but it's, where's he passing to?
Yeah.
What's he doing with it?
I'm not going to throw stats at you, by the way. I'm not going to defend
because Tyler Roberts had one good moment, and it's whenever he was putting the ball through to Rodrigo, who had a chance. That was the only thing he done. And for that, I have give Tyler Roberts a 1 out of 10.
Fuck's sake, Scott.
No, honestly, I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm done.
You can't give him a 1.
Listen, I actually really, really like him. Like, I actually really like Tyler Roberts. And I want him. Like, I want him to absolutely play like a worldie and shove it down all our faces. I really do. But it's just not happening. What does Bielsa see that we don't see? Like, it's not working.
I don't disagree. Look, on the crux of your argument, I don't disagree with you that, yeah, he's not the best, but fuck it out. One is definitely like taking the piss. So, right. Let me. Chris is waiting for this moment. So, Chris, clip me up. Say what you want to say.
Just bring Chris on.
First of all, Tyler Roberts, man, he is not a right winger. He got bought on the right wing. He is in a vein of form where everybody is hammering him all over social media for no fucking reason, because that's not the way you support your club. I understand you can come on a show like this, and you've just said one. I don't think that's you abusing a player. That's not.
No, but because I love him. I actually want him to do well.
Tagging players in things on social media so that you can see what you think of them is bang out of order. And he is getting a shitload of that, and you know he is. So you've got the lack of confidence, you've got being bought on out of position, you've got the fact he's 22 years old. And I'm not saying the same thing people said, oh, Calvin Phillips was 22, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that. He's young, he's out of confidence, he's out of position, and he got bought on for the player who was playing fucking amazing on that pitch. Rafinha. Take Rafinha off and you put Joe Gelhardt there, you put Sam Greenwood there, you put Somerville there, you can put whoever the fuck you like there, we would have still lost the fucking game. It is not Tyler Roberts' fault we lost that game. The thing with Tyler Roberts is, yes, he isn't quite the level we need to be starting games in the Premier League. But for me, like I've said, Rodrigo is a striker. He's not a midfielder. So if it comes to a choice between the two, I would start Tyler Roberts in midfield because I don't want to see Rodrigo there. And for me, like I've said to you when we've spoke privately, I don't know if I've said it here, but for me, with Tyler Roberts, you cannot expect him, with what we all know about him, to come off the bench and change a game because he's not that player. He's not going to change the game. He's not going to turn it from 1-0 to 3-0. He's not going to turn a 2-1 defeat into a 3-2 win. He's going to do a job, and he's doing exactly what Bielsa's asking him to do. So there has to be a little bit of it where we go, maybe Bielsa's not doing the right thing here. He's not exempt from criticism. He's not exempt from everything. But for me, Tyler Roberts, quality-wise, he's not anywhere near the level of what we should have in that position to start games in the Premier League. But to say that his performance was a 1 is wrong. For me, I'd give him a 5.5. I genuinely saw one thing that he did wrong when he came on. And the only thing other than that was bad was the atmosphere around the place when he came on. And if you are a young man, like I'm 28, nearly 29, I ain't got the balls to step out on Ellen Road in front of 40,000 when all of you think I'm shit. He's 22 years old. He stepped out there, out of position, out of confidence, and it's not his fault. Don't get me wrong. I understand he doesn't contribute enough in goals and assists at times. But for me, I just think it's bang out of order to give him a 1 and slay him. In other performances, maybe, but this one, he didn't do anything wrong. Chris, hello, welcome. Go straight in.
Mate, fucking behave, Phil, playing in midfield. He's out. You know what? And someone said it earlier, and I'm not pointing things at anyone in here. I mean, just fans in general. Slamming Firpo, slamming Dan James after a few games, but still saying Tyler Roberts needs time. How much time is he going to? Is he the next Jesse Lingard? He'll be 28 and we'll say, good prospect, that lad, good prospect. He's had his time. I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to go out and score a hat-trick every bloody week. At the end of the day, he's pulling on the Leeds shirt, and we want all of them to do well. But he hasn't progressed under Bielsa. Not for me. He's maybe had 5 games where he's made any kind of difference in a game. He pisses about, chasing his tail round and round like a bloody dog chasing its tail. And now, like you say, he enters the pitch and the whole ground deflates.
Yeah, that's not on him.
That is Bielsa's fault. Bielsa needs to recognise when the kid isn't doing anything and pull him out of the limelight for a bit. Get him out alone, do something, when we can, obviously. We can't at the minute. But what's he bringing? If you're bringing someone off the bench, you're bringing them on to make a difference in a game. And Tyler Roberts, at the minute, does not make a difference in a game. He certainly doesn't.
Who else made a difference in that game when you bring them off the bench? For Rafinha, remember. Rafinha comes off on that bench. Who makes a difference?
Right. So
because Somerville didn't. Jack Harrison didn't.
We know. You can't say Somerville. He came on for about 3.5
for a minute.
But you know what
Somerville was the right sub to make, not Tyler Roberts.
The thing
Honestly,
is, right?
It wouldn't have been any
thing
different.
is, Tyler Roberts has been in this first team squad now for umpteen years. So we're pretty sure he's going to come on and do very little of any impact. So bleed the kids in, get Joffrey on, get Somerville on, get Greenwood on, and just say to him, do you know what? Go and play your football and try and make a bit of a difference. Tyler's not doing it. I've had absolute pelters on this channel in the past for saying that I don't think he's good enough if we want to progress as a club. And I backtracked slightly at the back end of last season because he found a little bit of form and managed to score a goal after 4.5 attempts at it against Southampton. But I stick by my guns. And this isn't me slamming as a person. I really wish he would do well. He plays for Leeds. He wears the badge. I want him to go out every week and be a 10 out of 10. But we're not seeing it. And if we want to progress as a football club, we cannot carry passengers. And Tyler very quickly is becoming a passenger.
Yeah,
especially at this level.
I can't disagree with a lot of it. But when you're talking about passengers, then what's the difference for Junior Firpo? What's the difference for Rodrigo? Like Rodrigo, all season up until last week, he's 31 and he's been a passenger for a long time since he's been at Leeds now. The vast majority of Rodrigo's performances are being a passenger. I've only seen 2 or 3 good performances from Rodrigo.
Rodrigo was in and out last season due to injury and COVID and everything else. He was. And
Robert had one real run in the team, and even you were on this channel saying, fair play, he's doing well. He's put a consistent run of form together.
Yeah, but he's still only scoring 6 out of 10s, maybe a 7. He's never lighting the place up.
No, I agree. That's
that ability. Rodrigo's got that ability to light the place up like he did against Burnley for the last 20 minutes. I agree with you. Rodrigo, for me, at the minute, is standing for Bamford. But Rodrigo, for me, is a better finisher than Bamford. But Paddy does all the other work as well, which adds so much value to the team. So I'm not saying Paddy should be dropped, not by any stretch. The problem is, as you guys were saying earlier, we didn't bring that centre midfielder in.
No, of course.
Transfer window.
But in the absence of that midfielder, unfortunately, the options there are Forshaw, who's not an option, Dallas, who's bang out of form, Click, who is probably the best performing midfielder in the central area that isn't Calvin Phillips at the moment, has to start. And then looking next to him, if you are taking Dallas out, who are you putting in? Because it's either Rodrigo, who for me, midfielder isn't working.
This is what I'm doing, right? This is what I'm doing. So what I'm doing, I'm dropping Dallas to left back.
Yeah.
And only for a bit. Firpo needs time to get up to Bielsa speed. He's sat on the bench at Barca forever and a day. He needs some time to get match fit, learn our way of playing, and just take him out of the limelight a little bit before his confidence is shot to bits. He's been thrown in because we've had no option but to throw him in. I am playing Rodrigo and Click, but I'm probably playing Clicky a little deeper. And playing Rodrigo nearer to Bamford and just try and is my camera flickering?
Yes.
Yeah.
You still hear me?
I haven't touched it, I promise.
I'm just at a rave. I'm probably asking Clicky to sit a little bit deeper, just play a bit more of a protective role around Calvin. And then I'm playing Rodrigo in midfield. He's still a better option than Tyler Roberts because there is always that chance he does something in a game. Tyler doesn't.
Yeah. Scotty, go on. I mean, I already know you're on Chris's side, but come on, referee.
Well, it's what I think what everyone has to realise is that, you know, as Chris says, we're not having a go at Tyler.
Yeah.
We all want them to do well. But see, for me, the only time where I've ever thought, oh my God, Tyler Roberts is going to be a belter. Do you remember under TC and Roof was injured for about 2 months and Tyler Roberts filled in for Roof and he played fantastic. That might have been maybe 3.5, 4 seasons ago. So, and I'm near positive it was under TC. That was whenever I thought, Frank Tyler Roberts, he's going to be a belter. That's how long ago it was. And we're still waiting on something to happen. And but again, he's not being played, you know, in the right position. He's being moved about. And I just don't. I think the problem is because we are in the Premier League now, we can't be carrying people. We need players that do make a difference and do impact the game. And this, pardon my French, but the shit thing is Tyler Roberts just doesn't impact the game. He doesn't. As you know, we've said a few times, I'd rather see Tyler Roberts starting and someone coming on for him.
Yeah, right. Can I just make one thing very clear from the very few comments I have seen since we've started talking on this subject? I do not disagree with anything either of you have said on him in general, his performances, his general outlook on how he's going at Leeds United right now. But I was genuinely at the stadium on Saturday and watched him when he came on. There is no way you give him a 1. I mean, we're not... If you've listened to all the other podcasts out there that have already put their reviews out from the game, the square ball, I'll talk about them. They said he was all right. They said he didn't do anything wrong, didn't do anything right. He was just there. Like
a 1 was maybe a bit harsh. I think the 1's more of a reflection of the fact that Bielsa bringing them on out of
Let me finish. Honestly, people can come on and say that the Firpo thing, there's an agenda. People can come on and say, I'm batting for Tyler Roberts when it's wrong. No, the fact that you are literally going to put a 1 or a 0.5, as the most recent comment has just come in, out of 10, for the performance that he actually gave on Saturday, that is your agenda. That is not you supporting the player that's on the pitch. It's not you looking at what has actually happened and analysing it correctly. It's just you being harsh for the sake of being harsh. Yes, he's not working. Yes, take him out. Yes, I agree with everything you've said. But 1 out of 10, he didn't do anything wrong. Like, I've seen Liam Cooper get a red card in a playoff semi-final and we go off and lose and someone still gives him a 4 and Tyler Roberts gets a 1 for walking on the pitch and doing nothing wrong. It's an agenda. Like, all I'm asking is just be fair. Don't abuse the guy for existing because it's shit.
Do you want me to change my rating? I'll change my rating.
That isn't just aimed at you, Scotty. The number, fine.
No, I'll change my rating because I think whenever I give him a 1, it was more of a fact. It wasn't at his performance. It was for me, he literally done one thing of note. But also the fact that Bielsa insists on bringing him on as an impact sub, as someone that's going to change the game. And it's not fair to take it out on Roberts because Bielsa's sub choices are absolutely horrendous 99% of the time.
All of these comments, absolutely fair enough. Being there isn't good enough. Passing there, it isn't happening for him. It's sad. Like, all of these things are absolutely true. But like,
there's a player in him, but we don't have the time to develop him. That's what academies are for. We're in the Premier League now. And he's past academy stage. So let him go out and loan. Let him build up his worth. And then if he shows he can do it, we'll keep him. If he shows he can't, we'll sell him. That's just where we have to be at. Nostalgia has to go out the window. Nostalgia has to go.
Yeah.
You know, we've wanted him to do well, but we just can't.
I 100% agree with you, Scotty. Especially as he's part of the promotion team and everything else, do you know what I mean? We become attached to these players. And again, none of us want Tyler to play badly. Everyone wants him to do well, unless there is that agenda where you're like, oh, I hope he comes on and buries 3 own goals because then I can have another pop at him. Yeah, that's an agenda and that's ridiculous. And that's not a proper fan, of course. But we can't live in this nostalgic atmosphere of it is what it is. I mean, while we're talking about it, there is a conversation to be had around, you know, probably at the end of this season, Coops, Dallas, Click, they're all getting on. At the end of this season, are we looking to replace these players? Yes, Pascal's probably Coops' long-term replacement, of course. But those other players, and I'm not saying definitely yes or definitely no, but the conversation's got to happen around those players as well. Yes, Tyler's 21, 22. Yeah. But we can't carry him for another 2 or 3 seasons going. It's only 23.
No, I agree. I think that group of players that you've just said, for me, next season, I wouldn't flog them all out the door at the end of the season, but they all have to be filling out the bench now next season.
Yeah, absolutely. There has to be a change in the guard.
For me, Tyler Roberts is in that bracket as I'm happy with him filling out the bench next season. He doesn't start games yet unless something happens between now and the end of the season that changes my mind. Him, Dallas, Cooper, Forshaw if he's still here. That core group, for me, Click still at the moment is still starting games next season, just simply on the basis of what the fuck else have we got in midfield?
Yeah.
And are we going to go out and sign 3 of them? No. So Click will still start.
Yeah.
No, for me, Tyler has depth because there isn't a right lot of it. And that's where we do need to see the under-23s.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at them. Greenwood, we've seen bits of. Gelhardt, we've seen bits of. But, what have we got in midfield? Lewis Bate, can we see a bit of him, please? Stuart McKinstry, can we see a bit of him, please? Like, Liam McCarron now is a left wing back, but I'm sure he used to play in midfield. Like, can we see some of these players? And
Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins, Huggins. Like, there are players that are at the club that can play in these positions. And like we've said, take Tyler perhaps out of the occasion. I'm getting told off for being loud when I've got 2 sleeping children upstairs. See, this is a new thing. I'm not used to it. We're 11 days in. Soz. I blame Chris. It's all Chris's fault. We were quiet before he came on.
let me just say again, and Tyler Roberts won't see this. I want you to go and shove this down my throat, Tyler, because I want him to go out every game and have a worldie. I do. And I want to sit here at the end of this season and go, do you know what? 6 games in, I was damn wrong. And he's proven me damn wrong. Other players have done it in the past. Do you know what I mean? Other players have done it in the past. Your Bamford, stuff like that, when everyone was against Patrick. Well, the fan base was split around Bamford, stuff like that. Players have done it. So go out and do it, Tyler. Show us. Show us.
Yeah, all I ask is that when we are doing these kind of situations where someone is in this place, and I tried to do a bit of it with Helder Costa as well, but Helder Costa, I felt like I was flogging a dead horse by the end. And there are times where I feel a bit like that now, but with Tyler Roberts, all I ask is that we at least sort of just be fair and judge what we see on the day. Overall, yes, I agree, but we don't need to take it to a place where we're borderline abusing somebody for just existing.
There's no need to see all that stuff on social media. All that stuff on social media is uncalled for, especially against our own players. You know, we're all passionate supporters. So when things don't go our way, it's natural that we do look for a scapegoat. We are angry and we express how we feel in angry form because we are dirty Leeds.
Yeah.
But don't be going on and slobbering like a keyboard warrior to your players. Do you know what I mean? Go back in your plastic bag. Where were you? 1700 years ago? Plastic pricks. But I just, as Chris said, I would love Tyler Roberts to prove everyone wrong. I would love it. But I do, as Chris said, I would love see next time I'm over at a game. I would love Tyler Roberts to get a hat trick and then just come up and slap me on the face. Just go there, stick it up me. I'm like, Tyler, thank you. Would you like to get my wife pregnant? You've
done so well. It's always, it gets to the hour.
After the watershed? It's after the watershed.
As soon as we get an hour in, mate, you have to say something, don't you? No, you did very well, Scott. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. Stayed on track.
We've managed 70 minutes. I don't think we'll have been demonetized, do you? We've done all right.
I don't know. I don't know anything about monetization stuff. You have to remember, I had a channel with 6,000 subscribers that got taken off. So I'm not the person to ask for this stuff.
I'm taking positive body language from Chris Kelly there, and that doesn't happen often. So that's high praise, and I think that's a really good place to end this wonderful, joyous evening, so that I can stop waking up my 2 children. I'm sure we'll be back later on in the week with plenty to gear up for the Watford game. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Obviously, I hope Tash has put the links in the description below for our Just Giving page, so you can still donate for the Three Peaks Walk and the charity match. We are about 90% of the way there now, so anything would be pretty much getting us bang on. So thank you for watching, and we will see you very, very soon. Cheers, Chris, and cheers, Scotty. We will speak to you all soon.
Thank you, Mugger.
In a bit.